My personal best lifts in competition are a world record 668-pound squat, 391-pound bench press, and 711-pound deadlift. The benefits of the big three lifts, we keep trying to get away from them over time. People try to come up with new stuff, but if you look back at the most successful people in the history of bodybuilding, they did quite a bit on the big three lifts. The benefits of the big three lifts are you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Per set, per rep, you're getting so much recruitment of muscle fiber because it's recruiting so many different muscles. The goal of this program is to not only gain a significant amount of muscle mass, but also get significantly stronger. We're going to combine bodybuilding and powerlifting to bring you the best of both worlds. Over the last decade, I've studied the latest science in nutrition and training. I've taken all this research and experience and poured it into this PH3 13-week program. PH3 stands for power, hypertrophy, and the number 3 for the 3 big lifts: squat, bench press, and deadlift. We're centering the program around the big 3 lifts because those lifts recruit a lot of muscle fibers. But we're also including accessory work to fill in the gaps. We're also going to introduce you to blood flow restriction training, which is going to help you maximize your muscle mass. This program is for advanced lifters who want to maximize their strength and their muscle mass. I've built this program around the concept of daily undulating periodization, which in advanced lifters has been shown to be superior to other forms of periodization. In this 13-week PH3 program, I'm providing you with daily nutrition, training, and supplementation. I'm also providing you with video tutorials on how to perform the main lifts: the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift, as well as a video tutorial on how to test your 1-rep max and how to perform blood flow restriction training. All here free on bodybuilding.com. PH3 is a 13-week training program consisting of 3 4-week training blocks, as well as an additional 13th week as a taper. The first 4 weeks are an accumulation phase. What we mean by accumulation is accumulating volume. The rep ranges are going to be a bit higher, and so you're able to get more volume in a short amount of time. The second 4-week block, weeks 5 through 8, are an intermediate or transition block. You're going a little bit lower rep, but we're still keeping enough reps in to get a good amount of volume. Weeks 9 through 12 are an intensity block. The reps are going to be lower and the weights are going to be heavier. This is readying you for your testing at the end of the program and getting you to your maximal strength. During the intensity block, we're going to build into an overreaching week. The final week or two, your performance is likely going to start dipping because the weights are so heavy and it's so intense. But this is actually a good thing. By tapering in week 13, you're going to actualize those overreaching gains. And you're going to see almost like a rubber band effect. It's going to snap back and you're going to get even better gains than you would have gotten just by progressing linearly. Now, as I mentioned before, this program is for advanced lifters only. If you're a beginner or you're not ready for this program and you try it, you will likely get injured. I do not recommend this for beginners or even intermediates. The entire program is based off working with percentages of your 1-rep max. That's why it's so important to understand what your 1-rep max actually is. And the great thing about the program is when you test it at the end, you can rebuild out the whole program again based on your new 1-rep max. And it will accommodate for that because your volume is going to be higher because you're lifting more weight. So even though this 13-week program is centered around building up to a 1-rep max at the end of the program, during each block there's mini tests. So we have little tapers built into the last week of each block, and then you're testing a rep max. And based on that number of how many reps you get, that's a skills test of how well you're performing, and we use that to build out the numbers for the next block. One of the great things about this program is it's still auto-regulated even though you're using set percentages, because based on how you perform, we'll base the next week's training blocks of how much weight you're actually going to be using. Unless you've recently tested your 1-rep max for squat, bench press, and deadlift, I recommend testing before you start this program. So I've created a tutorial video for you on how to test your 1-rep max. There's a link to that tutorial on the page below this video. So now that we've talked about the program overview and how it's structured, I'm going to talk about what you're going to actually be doing in the gym. PH3 program is centered around the big three lifts: the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. You're going to be squatting and bench pressing 3 times a week and deadlifting twice a week. But that's not all you're going to be doing. You're also going to have accessory days, with exercises that are going to fill in the gaps that are left by squat, bench pressing, and deadlifting. We want to make sure you have a complete, rounded physique. So these exercises will hit muscles that may not get hit as much by the big three lifts. And you're going to be doing a little bit higher rep range, more like traditional bodybuilding style workouts with these exercises. We've also included blood flow restriction training to add extra volume without beating you up too much. Now, if you're not familiar with blood flow restriction training, I provided a link to an instructional video here on this page. For the phases for all the main lifts, here's how the percentages are going to break down based off your 1 rep max. In the first phase, you're going to be doing days where you hit 72.5%, 77.5%, and 82.5% of your 1 rep max for squat and bench press. For deadlift, you're going to have a day where you do 72.5%, and then a day where you do 82.5% of your 1 rep max. During the second 4-week intermediate block, you're going to be doing percentages of your 1 rep max that break down into 75, 80, and 85% of your 1 rep max for squat and bench press. For deadlift, you're going to be doing a day at 75% and a day at 85% of your 1 rep max. For the final 4 weeks, the intensity block, your percentages of your 1 rep max for squat and bench press are going to break down into days at 77.5%, 82.5%, and 87.5% of your 1 rep max. On deadlift, you're going to have a day at 77.5% and then a day at 87.5% of your 1 rep max. By now, you're probably thinking you need a degree in mathematics in order to do this program. But don't worry, we've broken everything down for you. We've provided a calculator that will automatically generate all your weights and workouts for the week. That's why you need to keep coming back every week and entering your numbers to get exactly what you have to do for the next coming week. 1 day a week, on your heaviest lift day, you're going to do what we call a plus set. You're going to take your last set on that day to failure. So for example, if you're supposed to do 4 sets of 5, on your 4th set, you'll do as many reps as you possibly can. It's important to really take these sets seriously. Give yourself enough rest that you're ready to go. These plus sets serve as a weekly mini test for how you're performing. So if you get a bunch of reps on your plus set, it's going to actually calculate more weight for you the following week, so the program gets more difficult. This is what we call auto-regulation. Based on how you perform, we're changing the program. So the program is a living, breathing thing. It is going to mold to how you're performing. Keep in mind, you're not taking your accessory work to absolute failure. You're going to typically stop 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. We call this repetitions in reserve. So on sets where it's marked that you have 1 repetition in reserve, you want to stop 1 rep shy of failure. For 2 repetitions in reserve, stop 2 reps shy of failure, and so on and so forth. Your training split is going to be the same for every week on this program. Day 1, you're going to be doing squat, bench press, and deadlift together. But this is your lightest day for each lift, so it shouldn't be a problem once you get used to it. Day 2 is upper hypertrophy accessory day only. Day 3, you're doing squat, bench press, and then a lower body accessory day. Day 4 is a rest day. On day 5, you're doing plus sets for both deadlift and bench press, and you're doing an upper body accessory day. On day 6, you're doing your squat plus set and a lower body accessory day. Day 7 is a rest day. I want you to follow this program as closely as you can. However, the one thing I'm okay with you adjusting is if you need to change days that you train certain lifts. So for example, if you come in and you get your main lift finished, but you aren't able to do any accessory work, do it on your rest day, or add it on to another day. The most important thing is to get all the lifts in during the week. Even if you had to do days back to back, it's not optimal, but it's better than not completing the lifts. During the initial weeks of the program, it may feel easy. Do not increase the weights more than we have laid out. The program builds upon itself. Most of you aren't going to be used to squatting 3 times a week, bench pressing 3 times a week, deadlifting 2 times a week. and that accumulation of fatigue is going to set in. And if you do too much at the beginning, it's really going to mess you up by the end. And it's really going to increase your potential to injure yourself as well. I promise you, it's going to be difficult enough by the end. Keep in mind that you're doing really big compound exercises. So if you throw a bunch of volume on accessory work in on top of that, it's just going to limit your results. Now, before you start this program, you need to have a really good idea of your 1 rep max, because that's how we build out the program, and you need to enter it into your body space so you can track your progress. In order to determine your 1 rep max, please watch the 1 rep max tutorial. Before you start this program, you need to go watch the nutrition and supplementation video. Proper nutrition and supplementation is one of the most important components of a successful training program. To show your commitment to this program and your goals, share it using hashtag PH3 and tag myself and bodybuilding.com. Push the limits of your muscle.
I can.
Outlift your mind. Aim to be superhuman. PH3.